Welcome back to Comic Book History. This is episode number 9. And in this episode, we're talking about the publication history of Superboy. Yep. Boy. Yeah, that's right. Superboy. Now, the first Superboy was created by the same people who created Superman. Joe Shuster and where is it? Well, yeah, it's people who created Superman, which is Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Yeah, same people. He made his first appearance in issue in More Fun Comics number 101. The same comic that's noteworthy for debut characters like Green Arrow, Aquaman, stuff like that. He wasn't in the comic very long. He had a feature in the comic that lasted for 7 issues. Which, well, 6 issues after the feature started, it ended. The reason why that was because the comic had become a humorous comic. And DC did not want to end all those features, so they they wanted to keep these characters around, so they moved all the features from More Fun Comics to Adventure Comics, while canceling several features in that title, keeping only one. They got rid of Sandman, Starman, they got rid of those 2 features. Those 2 features just had to go. Shining Knight stayed into issue 163, but everybody got moved there. Superboy was the one who stayed the longest. At everybody who moved to Adventure Comics. Excuse me. He stayed until issue 315, which that is 213 issues he stayed in the comic, which is a pretty good period of time. It's actually the longest feature. It's actually the second longest feature of the comic. In issue 247 was noteworthy for the introduction of the Legion of Superheroes, which was in the Superboy story. About 4 years after the character's introduction, he became the 6th character at DC Comics to get his own spin-off ongoing series, self-titled Superboy. And in issue 10, we got the introduction of Pete Ross and Lana Lang, 2 characters some people might be familiar with because of the TV show Smallville. Though I should also point out that Lana Lang's hair in the comic was red, not black. And she looked nothing like the actress who played her, and Pete Ross is white, not black. Though, one of her recurring things about the character was the fact that she would frequently try to expose Clark Kent as... She basically... Her recurring thing, and this lasted for a majority of the series, was that she tried to out Clark Kent as Superboy, because she kind of knew, and she had a thing for Clark Kent. Now, some of the elements of this series was adapted into Superman Secret Origin by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank in 2004. In the Superman Secret Origin miniseries, very good, by the way, I highly recommend it. Now, the Superboy volume, first volume, lasted for 258 issues. But here's something interesting, though. The first 196 were all Superboy stories. Started with issue 197 up until 258, it became a Legion of Superheroes series. Even though I personally do count these issues as part of the Superboy numbering. Now, with issue 197, the cover, the series is still called Superboy. The cover is changed from Superboy to Superboy starring Legion of Superheroes. This lasts from issues 197 to 222. With issue 223, the title was changed to Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes, and it lasts up until 258, which is the last issue of the volume. And of course, the numbering continued as Legion of Superheroes Volume 2 until a certain number. I'll get Legion of Superheroes in that video. But at that point, they relaunched the series as Volume 2, and it lasted 50 issues. On the cover, it said New Avengers of Superboy, despite the fact it was the second volume of the series. I should also point out that the character Mon-El, who was created by Robert Burns and George Papp, who I believe is also the creator of Aquaman, I believe he is. He co-created Green Arrow. My mistake. But he also created the Vigilante, point out. Now, some people are familiar with Mon-El because he's currently appearing on Supergirl. So you could think, now he made his first appearance in the pages of Superboy with issue 89. And by the way, his first appearance, it's called Superman's Brother. And it's in the Legion of Superheroes archive trades. Yep. Now, Lana made her debut in issue 10. While, let's see, Pete Ross. Let's see. Pete Ross made his debut in issue 86. And there was also one other character. His name is Chief Parker. He was basically a regular mainstay in the Superboy books. He made his debut appearance in issue 125 of Venture Comics. He's a pretty interesting character. A lot of the time when I've seen him so far, while reading the Superboy comic, he's an older guy. Heck, even in Secret Origin, he's an older guy as well. It's like he's always been an older gentleman. Now, in the Superman comics, when he's seen in there, it's set in present day, he is retired from the police force, the Smallwood police force, and living on the Kent farm. That's the way it was pre-crisis. I am not really sure exactly how they... post-crisis, he stayed as chief during Clark's childhood. This was established after the Infinite Crisis, but he was definitely there. He knew Clark Kent for years. They kept that part of him. But in the case of Mon-El, they pretty much, when you see him, he's simply a carbon copy of Superman. Except he's two distinct differences. One, his weakness is lead, and two, he's from the planet Daxam, not Krypton. He may look like Superman, but he's not Superman. And he's heavily associated with Legion of Superheroes. Now, after Crisis on Infinite Earths, the comic ended. Then, while the Superboy TV show was going on, they revived the Superboy comic as sort of a tie-in to that series, but it kind of felt like it was a continuation from what I read. It kind of felt like a continuation of the previous volume of the series by Paul Kupperberg. This volume, Volume 3, this was done by Mark Waid. He did the volume. I think he did pretty much the entire volume. After the volume ended, the reason why the volume ended is because because of low sales, and two, the Superboy TV show got canceled after 4 years. And then after that, for a few years, there was no Superboy until Reign of the Supermen introduced a new Superboy. And it's not Clark Kent, but it kind of is. It's Superman's clone. His Kryptonian name is Con-El. People do know him today as Connor Kent. Superman's, he refers to him as his little brother. And he's a clone of not only Superman, that was a clear established fact for a decade until the Teen Titans series, the third volume, by the way, originally by Jeff Johns and a few other different rares. Great volume, by the way. He established a small retcon. He's also the clone of somebody else. There was also Human Factor. Who was the Human Factor? And they kept this in the Young Justice TV show, by the way. His human donor was Lex Luthor. I am not kidding. And he was told this via email, and it's revealed in the same issue. This happened, I think, in the first trade of the third volume of Teen Titans. And I think it's also collected in the Teen Titans Omnibus by Jeff Johns. That it was Lex Luthor himself who revealed the Superboy that he's a clone of him. And Lex refers to Superboy as his son, while Superman tends to refer to Connor as his as basically a little brother. Supergirl By the way, when they brought her in there, Infinite Crisis, Crisis Infinite, they got rid of her, they killed her off, and they brought her, and then Lowe brought her back in 2004 during his run for Superman Batman. Now, she refers to Connor as a cousin as well. And Connor is a very popular character. I do enjoy reading about the character. Now, he did have his own series as Superboy, lasting 100 issues and having a few different writers in the book. The two most prolific writers in the book are Carl Kitzler, one of his co-creators, and Ron Martz, the guy who basically did a run on Green Lantern and Witchblade at the same time. Lasted 100 issues and had 2 annuals published and a spin-off series called Superboy Ravers, which lasted 15 issues. Also, for around the first 50 issues, the writer started getting an idea to have him based out of Hawaii. Oh, and they gave him an actual there were 2 noteworthy characters who showed up during the book. One was King Shark, who has been featured on at least 2 episodes of Flash, and he's also an Aquaman villain for some reason because he's a water villain. He's also part of the Suicide Squad very heavily the past decade, and also the character Knockout, who's from the planet Apocalypse. Now, she is not a creation of Jack the King Kirby, one of 2 known apocalyptic characters who are known for being from Apocalypse, who are not creations of Jack the King Kirby. The other, of course, is the character Tricken, who is a creation of Paul Kupperberg, one of his last known characters he created for DC. She, of course, was a recurring character during the first 2.5 years of the title, disappeared for several years, came back toward the end, and she had a relationship during that period of time with Superboy. Now, if you look at her, she's a stunning woman, red hair, green one-piece suit, who kind of looks like a swimsuit, in a way. And later on, in the pages of Secret 6, it was revealed that Knockout is in fact bisexual. And she had and as of the current continuity, in the current Secret 6 book, she got into a relationship with Scandal Savage. Who is Scandal Savage? She's one of the 2 daughters of DC's immortal supervillain, Vandal Savage. Now, that's why I think Immortal doesn't stop having kids. Yeah. So, in the current continuity, Knockout is still around, and she is one of Scandal's 2 wives. The other, of course, was a woman she met in the previous volume of the series, who, at the end, if you read the series, they actually keep the relationship canon. Now, and when they show up on her phone, she refers to them as her 2 loves. That's simply how they do it. King Shark became an Aquaman villain with the 6th volume of the series, and he did show up briefly once during the Aquaman series, the previous volume, done by Cullen Bunn, for his brief run in the book. But he had been featured very heavily in the pages of Suicide Squad until he got replaced by Killer Croc because of the movies. Yep. After the book got canceled, by the way, a lot of the books were tribute to Jack the King Kirby because he passed away, I believe, in 1993. So they had it for about 2 or 3 years, the book, where the art style was very similar to that of Jack Kirby and had one of his characters as a supporting character in the book, a guy called Dublix, who has also been featured on Young Justice. Who wasn't featured that much. On the show, he was voiced by Jeffrey Combs. Awesome actor. Noteworthy for playing characters like Wiyun, Sharan, and Brunt from Next Generation, from the Deep Space Nine series. He also played Herbert West from the Reanimator movies, but he known for voicing this character. After the series, the series kept changing the status quo a bit. After his house was destroyed in Hawaii. By the way, at this point, he still didn't have a secret identity. He moved around for a bit. Then he moved back to Cadmus, where he was there for a few years. And then Cadmus was destroyed. Well, the building disappeared. And then for the last couple years of the comic, he moved to New York City and had an apartment there. And then the series ended. I think he got evicted, but I don't know. During his last few years of his comic, he became a founding member of the Young Justice characters, Young Justice team, which is comprised of himself, the Tim Drake Robin, and Bart Allen Impulse. Bart Allen later became Kid Flash. And after about a little over almost 5 years of being around, and the series was almost entirely written by Peter David except for 2 issues. By the way, I have read it. It is really damn good of a series. I should also point out Ron Mark did come back toward the end of the Superboy series to do the last couple years of the book. Actually, he did come back along with Carl Kitzler, who brought back King Shark for final issue of his run. As far as I know, also, there was a couple issues where Superboy King Shark joined the Suicide Squad and did a mission, and King Shark was never seen again. After the series got canceled, of both Superboy and, of course, Superboy got canceled about at least about 2 years before Young Justice did. Though there was a joke about it in the series where that Impulse and Superboy got canceled around the same time, while Robin's series continued for another several years. And they started and he's like, what? Yeah, it was so really bizarre. I've read the Young Justice series. I think it's a good series. At some points, the whole thing with the whole teen stuff gets a bit over the top per se, but it's still a good series. Then after Young Justice ended, it was the reason why it ended was because of low sales. Though I have heard it was doing a little bit better than the book Titans, which at that point was under its third and last writer, which had a very mediocre storyline. I will get to Titans. I will get to that series very soon, and my friend Edgar is also planning on doing a review of this series. Okay, basically during the event Young Justice, Superboy. Now during the course of the series, they had the characters like Miss Arrowlet, who was actually the daughter of the original one, who kind of forced her to become a superhero. Also, her mother, who was the original Miss Arrowlet, a lot of the time she's shown to be smoking. I am not kidding. They also had a character named Secret, who didn't show up again after the series ended. And the group had one recurring villain, Secret's brother. And also, the characters were originally based out of the Secret Sanctuary, and then they moved to a mansion. And they stuck there for pretty much the rest of the series. They also had this recurring thing of, there was an election, figure out who's elected the leader. It was really bizarre, to say at least. Some weird ideas Peter David had for the series. But then the series ended, and because of low sales, so doing slightly better than Titans, was replaced with the what I do agree, this series is awful. Titans / Young Justice Graduation Day, a really awful series. Written by Judd Winnick, who actually is a good writer. I have read his Green Lantern stuff, Green Lantern, Green Arrow runs. They're actually really good, and of course I've read his Outsiders run, which came out right after this. I do agree that the Graduation Day miniseries was really bad. I have read it. It's so awful. And plus, Superboy did jack squat during the crossover. Heck, there's this one scene, I think it's issue 2, where Robin and Superboy are putting their pants on, and and I've read it. I've read it too. I'm like, what the heck happened in that closet? There was a joke about condoms, and Lakara told a condom joke at the end of the episode of when he reviewed issue 2. But the thing was, after Young Justice ended, the character Secret, as far as I know, she and Miss Arrowlet, I think, did show up a few times during Teen Titans, but not very much. As for Secret, she never showed up again. A lot of the characters from both Titans and Young Justice didn't show up again after Titans / Graduation Day, because the writers at DC didn't care about these characters at all. So, after this miniseries ended, then came Teen Titans. The series was revived by Jeff Johns. I got to admit, the Jeff Johns one was really good, and I read this before I read Young Justice. I have nothing against Young Justice, but the thing went a little over the top when it came to the teen stuff. Teen Titans, I actually thought was a really good run, 100 issues. Superboy was in there for a good chunk of it until after Infinite Crisis because the Siegel and Schuster's family decided to stick their noses in with a lawsuit. So what did that lawsuit do? Kill off Superboy, kept him dead for 3 years until Jeff Johns decided, yeah, screw you, I'm bringing him back, along with Bart Allen, who got killed off not long after Infinite Crisis in the pages of his own series when he was known as the Flash. In the series Flash, the Fastest Man Alive, he got killed in the final issue by the Rogues. He came back in the awesome miniseries that Jeff Johns did, which is called Final Crisis Legion of Three Worlds, where it had the 3 different versions of Legion superheroes. The pre-Zero version, which is the original version, the post-Zero version, which is co-created by Mark Waid, and the reboot version, which Jeff Johns created himself. And thanks to that miniseries, Superboy and Kid Flash, aka Bart Allen, were resurrected, came back, and they went back to Teen Titans. And, of course, also Superboy got kind of involved with the events of New Krypton. But after the whole thing with War of the Superman stuff, his involvement was very minor. It was mainly just Superman and Supergirl was mainly involved in that storyline. In the aftermath of that, Superboy got finally another ongoing series. This time written by Jeff Lemire. Last 11 issues. There was collected in a trade called Smallville Attacks. Great series. But before the series happened, he did get a one-shot backup feature in Action Comics number, I believe was 892, which was during a period of time when Lex Luthor was the main focus of the title for about a year before Superman got it back. Great backup feature. I've read it. It's really good. Featuring Phantom Stranger. And I look at the trade. I'm like, why isn't this story in trade? This feature set up this brief series. Also, I should mention that during the course of Superboy's previous line, his outfit changed a few times. First, it was the leather jacket look, which he had from the Reign of Superman. He had that for a few years. Then he switched it to look people that may have seen during Titans Young Justice Graduation Day. And then he switched to the look that a lot of people really do enjoy, which is the black t-shirt with the red S, jeans, and boots. And he had this look for 8 years. 8 years he had this look. And then after the DC Universe rebooted in 2011, this of course, he also had a series which ended up 11 issues, which was relaunched and lasted 34 issues, but he died in issue 20. He basically was on the first 25 issues. He became part of the. He was sort of a first person to join a new version of Teen Titans and reboots. Now, originally the book was written by Scott Lobdell, the relaunch book, Volume 6. It was written by Scott Lobdell for the first 26 issues, and then for the rest of the run it was written by Mark Wolfman. I got to admit, the Mark Wolfman issues were not very good. Specifically, Mark Wolfman is one of my favorite writers. It was okay. Wasn't all that good. And it featured not a very popular character named John Lane Kent, who was a clone of Superboy, like the character Match. Yeah, there was a clone of Superboy named Match. And he occasionally popped up now and again. Also, Superboy was wearing a Tron suit, because about a year or two after the start of, around this time, basically, the movie Tron Legacy came out, and he had to wear this stupid Tron suit. Now, in the Teen Titans book, and his own book, he was written consistently. I didn't have a problem with how he was written. At all. Now, it was heavily implied that the Superman did happen this continuity, though they've confirmed and denied many times the past 6 years. And basically it's revealed that he just showed up. And in his book, Caitlin Fairchild from Gen 13 was a supporting character for the first year of the comic. And then she got moved over to the Ravagers title. And then she showed back up toward the end of the series. And he was a pretty... I actually liked this version. I did like this version. And whenever he wasn't called Superboy, he was always called Con-El. He was never in this continuity ever referred to as Connor Kent. Which I tend to question why, but who the heck knows. About 2 years into this continuity, he died. He got killed off during Krypton Returns, and apparently nobody noticed at all. Nope. He got killed when He got killed during when a planet blew up. Yeah, something that the character Hell did. Yeah, he's a very weird character. I'd rather not get into him. And he was a subject of 2 crossovers. So, he remained dead for about a year at most. Then he returned toward the end of Scott Lobdell's, during the end of Teen Titans Volume 4, where in the end he was going to be alive, and a herald for a character called Oracle. He did return for toward the end of Superboy, where he got rid of the John Lane King character, where he died, by the way, in the last issue. Then he got moved over to Teen Titans, where he showed up in the second arc. Now, at the start of this arc, it was really, really good. Basically, it was mystery. Got framed for the death of these people, which were Duralans, by the way, who were characters normally associated with Legion of Superheroes, like the Dominators. And they released an annual. Marsh Matter was in it. And then Convergence happened, and something really weird happened. I'm not sure what happened. At this point, the Teen Titans head was written by Will Pfeiffer, who was a good writer, by the way. I read his one for Catwoman. It's really awesome. His first arc for Teen Titans was really good. A lot of people do agree with me. His first arc was really good. Second arc started off really good, and then it went downhill after Convergence. Basically, he started this thing where 3 issues in a row, basically the issue kept going on in circles, where Red Robin, yeah, basically in this continuity, Tim Drake was always Red Robin. I don't know why though, just that he was. He and Wonder Girl kept saying the same dialogue over and over again. Robin kept saying, "Superboy is our friend," and Wonder Girl kept saying, "Superboy is a murderer." And heck, in issue 10, it showed up the Elite, which the introduction was really bizarre. It's like, you open the issue like, there's the Elite, which is another group of teen heroes. And as far as I know, this storyline has still never been resolved. I kind of felt as though, basically, the story grind to a halt, like just prior to Robin War. And as far as I know, nobody DC has bothered to resolve the storyline at all, because by issue 12, Superboy disappeared and he was never seen again. We're in an issue where they apparently brought back Harvest, and yeah, they brought back Harvest and it was a hallucination, and apparently everything was caused by Dr. Psycho, and apparently it was revealed that the prison that he was apparently kept at, he was never kept there at all, so simply put, 4 issues of people wasting their time. And as far as I know, Connor Kent has not shown up since this storyline has apparently halted. Yes, since this storyline was, in my honest opinion, never concluded, because I think Will Pfeiffer never got a chance to finish his story because, for some strange reason, I have no idea why this was, Scott Lobdell, the writer of the previous volume of the series, he only wrote the first 18 issues and the last 6, was brought in as a co-writer for some dumb reason. I have no idea why. And then after this, Connor disappeared and he was never seen again. Though currently we do have a new Superboy, and it's the son of Superman and Lois Lane. His name is John Samuel Kent. His outfit is completely different from any other Superboy that I've ever seen. Now, he does have the same powers as his father, but he's not invulnerable. He can fly, he has heat vision, he has all Superman's powers, except he's not invulnerable because he's half human, half Kryptonian. But he has all Superman's powers. And currently, as of next month, he's going to get his own team-up series with Damian Wayne, a.k.a. Robin, who is, by the way, the 5th Robin. Despite the fact in this continuity, he is the 4th Robin. A series called Super Sons, which is going to be written by Peter J. Tomasi. Awesome guy, because he did a great job with Damian on the Batman Robin series. I love that series. I own pretty much almost every single issue of the entire series. And the artwork is done by a great artist, Phil Jimenez. That is the creative team of the book, despite the fact they announced it was a completely different team originally. But now, basically, the series is going to be done by these two. I'm looking forward to when it comes out next month, okay? But aside from that, that's everything as far as I know about Superboy and its publication history. Okay? So, that's it for this episode. In the next episode, I am going to talk about... What could I talk about in the next episode? The next episode will be episode 10. Yes, episode 10. What could I talk about? How about the Legion of Superheroes? Yeah, I'll talk about them next episode, okay? But until then, I will see you there.